Have you ever felt like you used to be the one who got things done? Like a lot of things, but now even starting feels impossible? You're not lazy, you're not broken, and this isn't necessarily a motivation problem. It's an identity shift. Because here's the thing that most people don't talk about. A lot of us with ADHD, especially girls and now women, got through life by overfunctioning, overachieving, and masking our symptoms a lot of us didn't even know we had behind a constant stream of doing. We collected gold stars, we aced classes, we crushed deadlines, we took on more than our share, sometimes because we wanted to prove ourselves, and sometimes because we just had to, just to feel okay. But what happens when all that goes away? Today, we're talking about what to do when the old achievement equals worth system breaks down and how to stop procrastinating when external accomplishments aren't driving the bus anymore. So many of us learned early on that our value came from doing more than everyone else. That's how we stayed out of trouble. That's how we got praise. That's how we masked our executive function struggles. And honestly, it worked for a while. Personally, I collected certifications like they were Pokemon cards. Every time I hit a wall or felt lost, I'd sign up for another training, a new course, a new productivity system. This one will finally get me on track. Sound familiar? We convince ourselves that achieving more will finally help us feel calm and confident and capable. But the truth? Overfunctioning is a trauma response in disguise. It's the fawn in a fight, flight, freeze, fawn, shutdown. It's nervous system survival mode, except it's socially rewarded. Until one day, your nervous system just stops cooperating. You're burned out. You can't focus. You're anxious or depressed or both. And the old motivators, praise, pressure, and gold stars, aren't there anymore. That's when procrastination takes over. Not to mention the shame that follows along with it. When you've spent your whole life pushing through for the next accomplishment, you probably never learned how to be fueled by internal motivation. That's not a character flaw, it's a missing skill. Our ADHD brains are wired for interest-based nervous systems, not obligation-based ones. We don't get a dopamine hit from just checking something off of a list, unless it feels novel, urgent, or meaningful, or if you're like me, you use AccuFlow as your task system, and every time you finish something, it gives you a little bling, like, woohoo, you're awesome. So if you're in a season where you're not working in a high stakes job anymore, you're a parent or a caregiver doing invisible labor with no recognition. You're in perimenopause and your dopamine tank is running on empty, or you're retired and all of a sudden don't have the external expectations of a boss breathing down your neck. In those cases, of course, motivation feels impossible because the old system of external success and pushing yourself beyond what's sustainable just isn't there. And without it, your brain doesn't know what to reach for. Here's where the healing begins. If you can't rely on achievements to fuel you anymore, you need something deeper, something more sustainable, something that isn't performance-based. So let's talk about internal cues of motivation for ADHD brains. Curiosity. What lights you up, even just a little? What would you Google just for fun? Meaning, what do you care about, even if no one else sees it? Self-compassion. What would you do if you weren't afraid of failing? Play. What feels like joyful rebellion against the productivity grind? And here's the secret sauce. You don't need to feel motivated to get started. You need to feel safe enough to try. That's why nervous system regulation is so key here. Because when your body feels unsafe, your executive function is offline. And when your executive function is offline, of course you're procrastinating because your brain's only concern is survival. So if you're stuck, start with your state, not your to-do list. Use one of the nervous system regulation tools you hear me talk about here. Create a cue of safety. Sometimes that can be your breath at a slow, steady pace. Then take a tiny, no-pressure step in the direction of something that matters to you. not just something that makes you look productive. If you've been feeling like you're falling behind because you're not doing as much as you used to, if you're grieving the version of you who could function under stress and pressure and get it all done, please hear this. That old version of you was surviving. The new version, she's healing. Procrastination isn't failing. It's your body saying we can't hustle for our worth anymore. We need another way to go about tasks. This isn't interesting to us. So how can you then make it interesting? So now what? Now we learn to listen instead of push. We learn to rest before we're forced to. We learn to do things not because they'll earn us praise, but because they help us feel more like ourselves. And that kind of motivation, that's the kind that lasts. If this resonates, you're not alone, and you don't have to figure this all out by yourself. I created a free guide to help you get out of task paralysis and actually start moving forward again without the burnout. It's called the 5-Step Task Master Plan, and it's ADHD friendly, pressure free, and totally free of charge. Download it below and take your first step towards doing things in a way that actually work for your brain. You've got this. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.